Alright, guys. So I'm going to let you into a day in the life of my world. So, yeah, this will be fun. Let's do this. Alright. Okay. I made this video. For you. Okay. Uh, Alright. Let's see. What was it? The login link. BBG. Wait. BBG. Zoom link. Okay. Thank you. Comedy video live. I want to check it out. Have you found it to be valuable?
A little bit about rounding the corner and becoming some external speaking points, talking points, that part of your brand of now that I know who I'm serving, the problem I solve, the message, my uniqueness, like some of those things that you might really still have time today to solidify and feel really good about, that we are kind of turning this corner into what does this look like in the world? Like how am I delivering that in a product, service, offering? It gives us a little bit of, like meat on the bones, just to be like, let's go. Like, let's see what this looks like. So today is a fun day. It's an exciting day. You are going to feel good when you leave here today, really satisfied. And like I said yesterday, 75 to 80%, that is our goal, you guys, because we know after that, more comes, right? That iterative process where you're just growing and building upon the step behind you. Kristen, did you have a question?
I do because somebody really loved that song and wanted to share it with her niece who has a volleyball tournament. Who was that?
Okay, that was, it's called, the band is CUT, like cut, like C period, U period, T period, and it's called I Talk the Talk. Right, DJ Elizabeth coming at you from San Antonio, Texas, from her living room with some great jams. We're gonna have, yep, that's it. That's it. It's a good one, and they have some other good stuff if you're really needing to get. They have some like faster stuff. Really, really pumped about it. We'll play some. I know that I should put that on my expert bio. Occasionally DJs for large audiences of 50 plus in intimate settings, like maybe I'm a master Zoom DJ or something. Thanks. I'm glad you interrupted me to ask. You guys always ask in the chat if I'm not seeing it, and I'll help answer all the important questions like this one for today. But I'm here for anything else you need to. So we are really going to build upon all of the things that you did today. But what we do at the beginning of every DNA, which in every event that we have actually, that I think is so special, is give everyone a time for the first 20, 25 minutes to kind of share some aha moments from yesterday, or something where the muscle in your brain was just, exercised enough to where you were like, wow, like I never thought of this before, but it's completely changing the way I'm thinking about the next steps of my brand. Or this became so much clearer to me. Or just a shout out to someone else in your room. Really want to start today on just with the service of putting things out into the world that are positive and good, whether it's about you and your experience or someone else. So let's kick us off today. I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds to think about that. Take a moment, take a deep breath. and really think about the things that happened yesterday. Is there something in particular that just really stuck with you that you want to share? Because I would love to hear it. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time. Sometimes it helps to pick up a pen or a pencil and write it down. But Michelle already has her hand raised, which I love. And so, well, guys, you didn't even need 30 seconds. Love that. So Michelle, why don't you kick us off with your feedback? I'd love to hear it.
Hi, Michelle, and the main thing I want to express is just my really gratitude because of the group that I was put in, with the women that we were with, just incredible women, and got to learn so much from each of them, and then we all kind of fit together, so I really appreciated how that all came together, how that came together, and with Kristen, it's just been great, and then Steph's turning me on, I see that, say thank you, yeah, that's what I want to say.
Awesome, Michelle. I love that. I know that every group is different, and that's part of the amazing part of Brain Builders group is that at every event you're going to get to know someone new, right? You're going to see, and you'll see the same people you were with before. But those relationships that you forge in such a small group setting where you're sharing parts about yourself, about the brand, about your dreams, about what you're really running at, like that really binds people together in some pretty incredible ways. And yes, Kristen's an awesome leader to be able to bring all those things together and really showcase them. So thanks for sharing, Michelle. Glad you're here. Davidson, let's hear from you.
Hey everyone, thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Casey, Cowboy Casey. He's amazing, and our group was like we really all bonded. We were laughing, we were having a good time, and yeah, I mean, I've been a coach for 7 years, and this is the most clarity I've ever had in my life in just one day. And I was trying everything, throwing spaghetti at the wall, just seeing what sticks, and it's just crazy to think. So I'm grateful for Ian Cognac for introducing me to this community, and yeah, I felt a huge shift, and it's just awesome. I have content for a whole year's worth just from the Abattoir story. So yeah, this has been a real treat, and I'm just it's been a privilege to be with you all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Davidson, I love that you shared that. That's a big kudos of saying like the most clarity that you've had, and we love Ian Cognac too, and we love it when people that we love and trust and who have trusted us send people our way. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Tanya, let's hear from you.
Hey, it's Tavia. Gilbert. No worries at all. I put this on the community in the app, but said that this isn't just about techniques to build business, or the result isn't just going to be that my business is stronger and more lucrative or more pleasing. It's that imagining who I want to serve and how I want to serve them helps me imagine who I want to be in the world, my own personhood, elevating, becoming a bigger version of myself. And that feels really beautiful and really satisfying, and also kind of terrifying, because if I'm going to be of service in ways that I think are profound for my clients, I have to model that in my own self. And so that's a really exciting, daunting opportunity. So that was really moving yesterday. And then I just think the way Steph listens so deeply, the energy that she's committing and her full focus and attention and creative interpretation and intuition is incredible. So the amount of mental work that I think every strategist offers everybody is really generous and exhausting. So I hope you guys get good rest and a nice weekend off. And thank you for everything. This community is really special.
Thank you for sharing that, and you're spot on. Steph is, I'm glad you picked up on that. It's not hard to, that she's just really intuitive and hyper-focused every time someone is speaking, and that is such a gift, in a world where there's a lot of distraction and there are a lot of people in a room, even if it's just 3 or 4, you guys are bringing like big stuff to the table. And I think our strategists are some of the best in the world. We want to walk alongside of you and help carry you toward those dreams and support you in whatever ways we can, through clarity, through listening, through action and accountability. So I'm grateful that you shared that and shared it in the app and shared it here today. And you're so intentional too, and just, really moving every step of the way. And that counts for a lot. you know, that intentionality. And a lot of times I mention this, and only because Tavia feels like so steady just in your tone of voice, that a lot of us as entrepreneurs want to run really fast and really hard and do a lot of things at once. And I will tell you, there is something to just taking a pause and really thinking through things. And that is really hard for a lot of people in this room to do. You guys are entrepreneurial minded. That's just where your head and your heart are, and just service, service, service. But I'm really glad, and I really hope that each of you today too is just taking a moment to pause, because there's nothing wrong with that. So thanks for sharing that, Tavia. Appreciate that. Rachel.
Hey, I just wanted to say, oops, I don't know where my picture went. There we go. I really appreciated, so the last hour yesterday, everybody else in our room had to leave, and so it was just an hour to kind of work through things with Trey, and he was so helpful in getting my brand DNA nailed down, and particularly, I thought I had my uniqueness figured out, but I walked away from that conversation with a better understanding of my uniqueness, like from the concept that it's a through line. I think I was viewing my uniqueness more as the end result of what I wanted my clients to experience, more than like the through line of everything they're going to go through. And even just waking up this morning and laying in bed and just thinking about that uniqueness as being nurturer is something that I could just really latch onto, and it just, yeah, made me excited.
That's awesome, Rachel. I love that. Yes, like when you really land on and understand, like problem, pause, message, uniqueness, they're just words until you can understand how they actually work with your personal brand. Like what is this uniqueness and how do I leverage that fully? And yeah, when you do that and that like light clicks on, yes, like, and that's going to carry you into captivating content of, if this is the unique way that I solve the problem, what does that look like? Like, what am I walking my avatar through, or what are my big philosophical belief buckets on overcoming this problem in this unique way? So when those things start to click, captivating content is going to be amazing. Great, thank you. All right, Hannah.
Hi all. I haven't talked this morning, so I'm like, oh no, my voice is probably raspy. Okay, you guys did so good at putting us together in the right team. I don't know how you choose that, but our avatars and the people that are in our group, we kind of all are speaking to different women in different seasons of their life, and that's what our businesses are going to be serving. So we very much collaborated, and Bree led so well with we were all doing it together, and I felt like everyone was present.
So today
and
is
very
necessary.
so fascinating to me, and I really love. So thank you for. I don't know how you orchestrated that, but that was good.
Super proprietary method. No, it's a well, and you know, and I think this is also the beautiful thing about Grandmother's Group. When we say 1,000 mission-driven messengers, that's always been our goal from the day we started this company, because we knew that if we could have impacted 1,000 people, and if they impacted 1,000 people, it's 1 million lives impacted, and that was our goal from day one that we started this company, and that's still our goal. We're not looking to get beyond 1,000, and guys, we're at like 796. We don't have that many more, though, maybe more now. We don't have that much more to go, and that's always been intentional, because we want to know you. Like, we really, really want to know you. We don't want to have 15,000 people that we're like, we kind of know some of them. Like, we really, really got locked the doors at 1,000. No more. We really want to know you well, and we take it really seriously when we carry with strategists, when we put you in small groups. And again, like I said, some of that is really, you can sense it from the very beginning, from the get-go, and sometimes it just takes a minute. You know, it's like on paper, like, how does this work again? But the deeper you get with someone, you go, okay, now I can see that connection or how we can support each other. So thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that you noticed. All right, Mitch, let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you. Very quickly, I came to this very open-minded. I wasn't sure what to expect. I want to parrot what the last woman said about putting groups together mindfully, doing a really good job. I was heartened very different ages. I skewed the age range up for sure, but very different places in our careers and what we're looking for. But I think it all meshed really well. We had 4 people with a lot of commonalities. I thought, kudos to be off for putting the group together. I also want to give kudos to Brandon. I think he said he's fairly new to brand builders, but boy, he did a great job. I mean, he kept things moving, and he was very respectful of everybody in the group, heard what people had to say. It was obvious he was listening and not just pushing things along. So just wanted to make that point and shout out to him for doing a great job.
Mitch, thank you. I love all the pictures behind you of Emily. I think that's really special. And I love that you said you skew the age range, but I'm so glad you're here. Brandon is awesome. I think that's something that every strategist has, and Tavia mentioned this too, is that they're really good listeners. Like they are really intentionally listening to you. That's a big deal. It's a great thing. So really, really good. Thanks, Mitch, for sharing. I appreciate that. All right, Kara.
So I think I pulled, probably stuck this at one point in our first strategy session, but yesterday I worked with Larissa and our team on just coming up with, obviously our brand DNA, and I had this like internal feeling of like, what am I even doing here? Do I belong here? Am I in over my head? And so that was the kind of story I've been telling myself for a little while, but the more, I went from feeling kind of fractured in like, all these things I've done throughout my life, all these skills, this uniqueness that I've brought, that's all well and good, but what does it matter and how does it all fit together? I feel that it's almost like for the first time I got clarity and actually truly believe that nothing that I've done has ever really been wasted, and it's all kind of come together and helped me put definitions to what those things are, like the through line and the things that I just wasn't noticing in myself. And so, I'll give Larissa a shout out here too, in the fact that, I could tell as I was talking, she would just pause and say, okay. And so there were several moments like that where we went back and forth, and then finally, towards the very end, like she almost could sense that I was onto something, and she brought that out. She's like, yes, that's it. Like that makes sense. Like it's almost like she noticed a difference in my tone or the way I was talking, and I'm like, yeah, that is it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say I'm real thankful for this community as well, and for what each of you have brought to the table.
Kara, that's so good. Right now, like, what does this look like for me? Is there anyone that would feel like vulnerable? Just kind of raise your hands if you're like, I mean, this is good, but I'm nervous. Like, this is a little nerve-wracking. And some of you might, yeah, I'm kind of, sort of. And that's okay for you to share. I know, and I want people to kind of see who's raising their hands here. Number one, I just want to affirm that that's normal. When you are on to something good, right? When you are on to something good, that's when you know. Is sometimes when you just start to second guess yourself. It is like the human condition, unfortunately. Like when we're on to something, and when we're working really hard at something, we're really quick to just go, is this what I should be doing? It feels really insurmountable. Am I on the right track? Is anything that I've done even going to help me moving forward? And this is the time that I just want to affirm that coming back for Brand DNA on day 2, you can come in feeling like that. This is not the first time we've seen it. It's not the first time we've experienced it in terms of coaching. But I really want this community to look around. And if anyone's feeling like that, like now's the time, mission-driven messengers, to really come alongside these people in our small groups, like, and support them today, right? And just in the small ways that you can, because we're all on a mission to do some really incredible, impactful things in the world, and we can't quit now, right? Like we can't let you're on the precipice of something really big, and oftentimes when you are is when it feels the hardest. And so I just want to put that into the world today, and just to have you know that it's not unusual. And Kara, I love that you shared that, because you were really vulnerable in just saying, like, there are some times I was like, am I doing the right thing here? Like, should I even be here? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And yeah, nothing's in vain. I totally agree. And I love that. Thea, I know your hand was raised, so I would love for you to share if you're still willing.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say, first of all, in my business, I was the one for 10 years who paired coaches and trainers with clients. So coming into Brand Builders, I was so concerned, who am I gonna get paired with? Is this gonna be a good match? I know what an art and science there is to it, and I read Kristen's bio when I was assigned to her, literally did a happy dance in my living room. I was like, it's like dancing around the living room. My teenagers are like, what are you doing? I was so excited. And it was like her bio spoke to me. It was such a perfect match. And then I met her yesterday, along with the amazing women in my group. And it was like the universe had placed us together, not just because of what we were working on or that we were phase one. It was like this like deeper connection, like soul level connection. And it's just, it's like, it was meant to be. And so, and I know that sometimes things come together in a way that you couldn't expect and you wouldn't expect. And these are not the people that I would have thought that I was going to be paired with. And I am so, so thankful that I am. So I just want to share that.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. It is. Isn't it funny when you actually get put into something like just completely thrown in, that you have to be more intentional about looking for those through lines, even of the people in the room. And when you're more intentional about that, you see it. And, okay, this is so great. And now you've got connections that you can move forward with and bring over group in so many big ways. Thank you for sharing. And you're with an awesome strategist that is perfect for you. I remember in onboarding, I was like, oh yes, this is good. It's a good pair. All right. Who else? Does anyone else want to raise their virtual hand? Yeah, Lori. Hey, Lori.
Hi, good morning. Just like everybody else has said, that I really enjoyed our group yesterday, and our guide Olivia was so right on with how she would ask the right questions that would bring out the thinking that we needed to do. And I think, being in the coaching world for many years and doing consultant work, I think the biggest danger that anyone has is if you approach something in a way that says, oh man, I already know this. This is something I've already done, what the heck, I don't want to start over again. And it's easy to have those preconceived notions. And because I've learned that that's never a good place to enter anything, having that open mind and saying, okay, what is it that I need from this? What is it that I need to hone just a little bit better? And I think that's why we're all here, is to make those tweaks that we need to make in what we're doing to make it even better, to impact more people, to do what we do best. And I just really felt that, again, our group was chosen so perfectly because it's almost like we're working with the same person as they matriculate through their life, learning the things that they need to know at these different stages of life. And it was just beautiful. As I reflected last night, I thought, what a beautiful experience to, dig deeper into what we're doing, but also offer any insight that we might be able to help somebody else with. And it was just a beautiful experience. And I wanted to give a lot of kudos to Olivia, but also our group, because it's like, we're in it together, and I loved that feeling.
Oh, Lori, words of wisdom from Lori. Thank you for sharing that. And Brandon said that's a pithy pillar point. You put that in the chat, something you said, it was so good. So hold on to that. Thanks for sharing that, Lori. I think this goes back to this idea that, everyone that's in this room is coming in at different points in their career, right? Some of you are just starting, or you're making a shift into something you want to pursue with so much passion and intentionality. Some of you have had really extreme success, and you're here because you want to build upon that, or just hone in, or learn more about the process of what you're doing. And some of you are kind of in the in-between, of like, I'm ready to level up, I'm ready to create something new, right? And I think the beautiful thing about that is no matter how far along you are, or just starting, or wherever you are in that journey, the through line for everyone in this room is that you all know you still have stuff to learn. And that is when people stop growing, is when they start believing they have nothing else to learn. And every single person in this room understands that they have something to learn from a strategist and from people in that room with them. And the more open you are to that today and throughout your journey here, guys, I've seen it. It's amazing how we can carry each other and support each other. So thank you for sharing that. I love it. I love it. All right, everyone. I really appreciate all of you sharing today, and I know so many of you guys shared in the chat. Thank you. Thank you for supporting everyone and sharing kind of where you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the positive, kind of where you're wanting to go today. I want everyone, before I break you into your small group room, so the way that today is going to work is I'm going to send you all to small group rooms for about 30 minutes just to level set. Like for you guys just to feel like I'm ready to start this day. Here are my areas of focus, checking in with your strategist and other people in your room. And then after 30 minutes, we'll come back in here to talk about monetization. I want everyone to know that as we are still going to move you forward, right, in your brand development, if you need to revisit problem, cause, message, uniqueness for a little bit, you can. We want you to move as fast as you can, as slow as you have to today, right? And so I just want you to speak up at your small groups if we're gonna urge you on, but don't move forward if you're really feeling stuck. I can help you and other people can as well. But again, the goal is to get through today, really kind of honing in on your monetization strategy and position yourself with your expert bio. And so then you'll come back and hear from monetization. One quick thing at lunchtime today, we're gonna send out a separate Zoom link. We were just gonna have on a separate Zoom meeting, if anyone's wanting to join, just some small group rooms for networking and connection, right? Typically at events moving forward, you'll be in something called needs and leads. That's really hyper specific. It doesn't mean that you can't say, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need help with. But at Branding Night, we just want you to get to know different people, right? We want you to share what you're doing here with them and just get to know them on a personal level. So we will be sending out a Zoom link via email. We'll also share it here in the chat before lunch. So from 12 to 1, you're invited to join that kind of lunch group on a separate Zoom and then come back at 1 o'clock. So we'll be helping kind of facilitate that if anyone is interested in joining. It's really beneficial. It's a great time. So just know that is what today looks like. Before I send you to your breakout rooms, I want everyone to do me a favor and take a couple of deep breaths just to kind of recenter and reset as you're going into your small group room. So if everyone can take a deep breath through your nose and out through your mouth. One more. One more out. And just enter that room with the intention of what you're here to do today and who you're here to do it for. I'm gonna put about 30 minutes on the clock, everyone, and we will go to breakout rooms just like we did yesterday. You'll be able to choose and select the room you're in. You're in the same rooms today as you were yesterday. I'll see you back here in about 30 minutes to start monetization. Have a great morning.
Alright, so I am doing an all-day workshop to find out my brand DNA, which just helps me have clarity on who I'm serving. So excited to be here to show you guys a day in the life, and I'm ready to do this. Casey!
Good morning.
Morning.
What's up, Casey? What's your hat say? Oh, Folds of Honor. Yeah, I've met the guys that founded that. They're amazing people. You're on mute, my friend. Can you guys hear this music?
Nope.
son of a gun.
We can share it. You know how to share audio through
Um, you might have to have administrative right. Oh no, it works. It works. Yeah.
Zoom? Oh, there it is.
There you go.
This is where I'm at.
Cool.
Is it loud? Doesn't sound that loud.
Perfect.
That's good.
Perfect.
I gotta tell you, Casey, it was really surreal. I got a text from a friend of mine that one of the F-14s that I actually flew is in the Wings Over the Rockies Air and Space Museum here in Denver. So I went over there a couple days ago just to pop in, and it was incredible walking around this airplane, just thinking about the whole journey and actually knowing that I actually flew that airplane sitting there on the air. And it was actually pretty sobering, right? Some of the memories, you know, it's not all the fun stuff. And it was really meaningful. So, you know.
Wow. So cool.
I can't imagine what it would feel like to fly that plane in missions.
Well, here, I gotta show you this. This is one.
And then, you know, go visit it in a museum and walk around it.
That is me in the cockpit.
Come on. Launching a missile.
That is a Phoenix missile. That's a $4.5 million missile that had a 100-mile range.
Whoa.
And it was an unreal experience. When that thing lit off, I literally thought my airplane was blowing up because the rocket engine, this thing goes up to about Mach 4, goes up to 90,000 feet and then drops down on its target. So it dropped off the airplane and then launches, and basically there's this ballistic missile that goes right up in front of my nose cone, just straight up. And then it was a pretty, and we only got to fire one of these a year, the entire air wing, and I got selected to be the guy in the crew that got to fire it. And yeah, that was a pretty incredible experience.
It's a $4 million bomb?
Missile. It was designed to defeat long-range Russian bombers. That was the F-14's mission, was air-to-air defense of Russian bomber fleets.
Because the Russian planes were a little techy. They had a little bit better tech, a little bit faster, right? The American pilots had to outmaneuver them.
Our tech was actually better. Well, we had different tactics. All theirs was command and control. So they were actually told what to do, what direction to fly. Even the fighters from the ground, they were ground controlled. So even though they had more capable airplanes, we had tactics that would give us an advantage because they didn't have the level of training or autonomy that we had. So two very different cultures even in the cockpit and training regimes, but it was you're constantly practicing against their tactics, both air and ground and everything. So
yeah, and so that missile was developed to defeat the Russian squadrons. Their air attack.
They're big nuclear bombers. That missile was specifically designed for their big, the B-52 or the B-1, the big bombers that we have.
I mean, I've heard of it, but I can't know.
But just think of a giant bomber that's designed to fly high, fast, and deliver an intercontinental cruise missile or atomic bomb from very high altitude. So if they were coming at us, that missile was designed to be specifically for that threat.
Wow.
We carried other things on the airplane, but we're the only airplane that could carry that weapon system, the F-14. It was designed for the F-14.
And when you shot it, did you shoot it at a B-42?
No, we shot it at a supersonic drone. It's about the size of a Volkswagen. And this was the incredible thing, because you have a telemetry package on the missile, and it does not have a warhead. on it. So it was supposed to be a near miss, because when it explodes, it basically does all kinds of stuff. It takes out an airplane and basically concusses the air crew where they can't fly. So the thing about this thing, going Mach 3, 90,000 feet, coming down on a supersonic, so two supersonic targets come together, and way off in the distance, we see this little flash. And this thing was so accurate. That thing has its own radar system, so it actually locks on itself and guides itself in the final phase. It went right through the middle of this Volkswagen-sized supersonic drone, and what we saw was the fuel tank of the drone blowing up.
Wow.
And so there were guys behind us, because it's supposed to be a near miss, because this usually doesn't happen, and there's guys behind us with some other different kind of missile systems, and then they were supposed to get to shoot at the drone also, and none of them got to, and they were not happy with us. But I'm like, nothing I can do about it.
So when it explodes, the purpose of that missile is to concuss the area around it. It's not for an explosion.
Both. Yes and.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, think about it. It's a Sidewinder, the heat-seeking missile, the small one that you kept seeing in the Top Gun movies. The radar got the one that's guided by heat signature.
Uh-huh.
It has an 8-pound warhead, so a hand grenade is half a pound. So think about how just the force of just that blowing up, and then it also sends out shrapnel. And then inside of the Sidewinder, there's this wrapped coil like a bike chain, and it throws it out and it spins. And if that hits the airplane, it's going to rip off like the tail or the fuselage or the wing, or so make the airplane unflyable. Yeah, whoever designs weapons is kind of a bunch of evil geniuses.
So you have to be, this is my last question, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes here. So when you're shooting a missile like that, you have to be careful, like the Sidewinder, you have to be careful if you have any friendly planes in a certain radius, right?
Well, before you fire it, you gotta make sure you're locked on and there is no other friendly airplanes, like if it's a dogfight, in the field of view of the missile. So we have symbology that we look at when we're firing.
Gosh, so cool. All right, well.
And I want to tell you about my story when I was down the Amazon on the Chinese wall on the Yucatan, when we overtook a couple band. Oh, wait a minute, is this the same? What meeting am I at? Davidson, help me out, man. Where am I?
That reminds me. That reminds me when we was gator hunting in Louisiana.
Shoot him, Junior. Shoot him.
Shoot him. It was a
Oh my God.
That reminds me of my first wife. Well, let's roll forward. Jared, great to have you, sir. All right, so Davidson, great share this morning. What a special opportunity we have to be together, you guys. I mean, this would be a completely different experience if there was one other person in this room. It would be a completely different experience.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for this. Jane was without power and then out of heat, and it doesn't look like she's gonna make it today. Poor gal.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's excited to get back to the States.
She's not originally from Paris. I thought she moved there.
I think she moved to Paris, and then I think she's moving back. I think she's coming back here for a tour or a book tour or something like that. If I recollect correctly. And so Davidson says I got 2 meetings today, one in 27 minutes for a half hour.
Top of the hour, yeah.
Hour early at 5 p.m. Okay. All right. So at 5
my time, so it'd be 4 your time.
4 my time. Okay.
Yeah.
So from 4 to 4:30, it's going to be me and me and the lighthouse,
Oh, my background is there, yeah.
it's gonna be me and the other gentleman from 4 to 4:30, and then, gosh, I'm blanking on the Beyond Influence guys, that's what I'm trying to say. We'll be together from 4 to 4:30, and then, all right, cool, good deal. Let me just get my head screwed on here. All right, so let's kind of just, this is like an opportunity for us to chat about yesterday, to get feedback. If anyone has feedback from survey, Davidson, I'm excited to hear your feedback. But this is kind of, we got about 18 minutes. We can just roundtable and talk about whatever from yesterday. So thoughts, ideas, questions, problems, you name it. Floor is open.
Yeah, I think it was helpful, and just getting John's and Jerry's feedback was helpful. So I think in some ways listening to you guys or you help them was also helpful. So I think instead of me like during that time working on filling out the rest of it, I think it's somewhat helpful to just listen to how they're doing it. So I'll probably try to do a little bit more of that because there's gold in that as well. So I think that's what I'm gonna aim for today.
Okay, sweet. Jerry, John, thoughts, ideas? I mean, obviously we can workshop your one-word problem and stuff.
Well, it was interesting. We had our whole team. We have a meeting once a month. There was probably 12 people on our whole team last night, and Jerry and I were able to kind of share, what we did. But I just said I think the brilliance behind actually thinking of getting, the whole process of getting everything down to a one-word problem. And just the thought that it takes to do there and how you guided this, Casey, was brilliant. But also the link between here's the cause, which is typically for somebody it's known because they're feeling it. Here's the problem, which is typically a blind spot.
It's the reverse, John, not to interrupt you. The cause is in the blind spot.
That's what I meant. The problem is known, the cause is the blind spot.
Yes.
And then we were able to explain to the group, what is the uniqueness, right? Because typically things about, you think about your own superpower, or what am I awesome at? It's like, what have I just done naturally that's my approach? And that was kind of fun for Jerry and I to sit there and brainstorm together. Like, he was able to kind of affirm and give me some feedback and vice versa. And what we kind of landed on is that we have an ability, almost like this intuition, to kind of read what's happening underneath the conversation. Like almost like what's the reason behind the reason of maybe what we're hearing or the patterns or the dynamics in 3 domains, both the people, their processes, and why do they have their processes, and in their finance and technology. And then we realized it's because Jerry and I were good at all 3. But I have more strengths in a couple of those areas than Jerry has more. And when we come together, it creates insights that I think allow us to uniquely solve that specific problem for that person in a way that they most often haven't thought of before. Or it's never been really communicated as clear as maybe we can because we're a step away. And then what's the link between those 3? So we shared kind of that framework with the group yesterday, and it led to a really engaged discussion. So that was really cool. And I know we still have some work to do. But Jerry, you did some of that stuff you posted in Teams that you found on misalignment, and boy, does that just connect one-to-one to the problem. So misalignment, and I don't know if I love the word, but I think that's where we're headed.
As a cause or a problem?
As a cause.
Yeah.
Yep. I really think that as a cause, misalignment, because I can't remember, it was from Harvard, but 20% of people don't know the strategic priorities of the company, and 59% of the people don't understand, why project, or I can't remember, a huge number, it's 70% or they believe projects fail because of misalignment if you ask them that specific question. Right, so there was some data in there that I'm like, man, this really kind of proves out what we were just thinking and feeling.
I felt the feels around misalignment yesterday.
Yeah.
It just stuck out, right? It was like hard to not keep coming back to that. Especially when you talk about all the different facets that you guys are coming in to help reorg, build the leadership, build the team, right? The whole reason you need a leader is to align everyone else for the mission, for the goal, for the purpose, right? So if the key thing is leadership, then it would make sense that alignment and misalignment would be the big underlying forces that needed that fine tuning in order to get all the other areas of the business moving. We have great leadership. I mean, like, I've never seen leadership like I have in Brand Builders Group. And Rory and AJ are just amazing at uniting a group of people for that one purpose. So I've seen terrible leadership and I've seen great leadership, and what we accomplish. I mean, everything that we do is run with a team smaller than 50. We've got 790 clients, something like that, worldwide. We have everyone is doing massively more than in a regular run, business. But we're able to do more because we have more systems, better communication, and better leadership. So I'm just kind of airing out my thoughts around alignment and misalignment. It's really, I like it a lot. Let me pull your thing up here. Is this John? These the same stats from yesterday, or are they different?
Same stats, but Jerry also in our thing linked it to some articles that I read last night, and it just really confirmed. But look at that, 46% of people are frustrated about just frustration, which creates conflict from misalignment. This is going to be really interesting to dig into and really get smart.
Yeah.
On stuff from Gallup, Harvard, stuff that's been already out there in the public domain, and then I think also, and maybe we'll get there, but finding a unique perspective on this topic, so we can be publishing from a unique point of view, right?
Yeah.
Hey, John, that made me think of story. Stories are really are incredible for people to word picture and kind of get in the middle of. Is kind of my smart dog story. It just puts you into a space where you just can relate a little bit better. I wonder if there's a story around that you may have with misalignment, and I put clarity in there because that was something else that was mentioned I think that may be uniqueness or that you provide clarity. So that was one of the things that I pulled out of that 28% of executives and middle managers responsible for executing strategy can't list their strategic priorities, so they lack clarity. And so I'm just curious if you have a story that people could relate to, for people, as you were talking about, unpacking that one word, but then also creating a story around it.
I'm sure we can find one. I gotta think about that, right?
Yeah, and so clarity could be a big payoff. You know, that's what a lot of people come to brand builders for, is clarity. It's like what David shared, you know, Davidson. It's like, I've been a coach for 7 years and I've never seen things as clear as I did yesterday. So clarity is a huge payoff for people. And so it could be a uniqueness, but I think it more fits in the, I think what you guys do is far beyond implementing clarity. You know, I think clarity is a byproduct, and then you can use that clarity, right, to further the ball. But I really like alignment, misalignment, and I'll tell you what, you're not going to go out and be a megaphone on misalignment. Why? Because misalignment is what they're unaware of, that's operating in the background that they have not discovered yet. So we don't talk about it.
Interesting.
We simply give them the anecdote. We talk about the thing we talk about the thing they're aware of, right? The thing that they're aware of is hopefully the one problem that we have presented, plus the pain, all the symptoms that come off that problem, because they're darn sure aware of the symptoms. And then we don't really speak to alignment, because that's our uniqueness and that's the thing that they don't have. But what they really want are the payoffs. They want the fruit of alignment, but they don't know they want alignment because they don't know they're misaligned.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Unconscious incompetence, John, that you mentioned yesterday.
Yes.
You know?
Well, I was just thinking of maybe a storyline, Jerry, that could work. I grew up playing the violin. So I was part of the orchestra that actually played in some symphonies. Now think about it. Every chair, first, second, third chair, violin, the bass winds, the saxophone, everybody has a completely different sheet of music that they play off of. And what does the conductor do? When the music is played, everything works together in this beautiful harmony. But what happens if one of those instruments is either out of tune or they're on the wrong page? Even if there's 100 people on stage, but there's one that's just not connecting with your ear, the entire symphony does not, the experience would be ruined, right? You would not. So I think maybe there's something in that to play with a story. I'd like to find a good business one. I think the Tower of Babel, you know, the story that Gene used, Jerry, in that sales meeting we were in, I think is another story to just highlight this principle. Think about that, right? Everybody was communicating incredibly, and what did God do to actually destroy their ability to even finish the project? He changed all their language. There was complete misalignment just in communication. And they weren't able to finish, and they all basically walked away from building this big tower. There is something I think we could flesh out in that as part of explaining this as a problem that somebody could completely relate to in their organization.
Yeah, so let me put this on the board for us. So if I pull out y'all's captivating content.
Yeah, I'm not on that one. Let me pull that up.
As you guys are like brainstorming the different things that you would help someone with around this topic of alignment, you might put them in here as a brainstorm. Now you can brainstorm in this if you want, or you might come down here and you can brainstorm in the pillars, right? Like pillar 1 might be clarity. Pillar 2 could be synchronization, right? And then you could have the story idea of a symphony. You could have a whole pillar on communication, and that could be Tower of Babel.
One was overemphasis on short-term results as a pillar,
Mm-hmm.
and then soft skills with the new hard skills. That's some of the things we came up yesterday. Over reliance on past success might be. There's a lot of pillars, I think, in this mindset section that we created yesterday, or limiting belief section. Could you do me a favor, Casey? I don't know, maybe we get there later today. Could you go back up to that grid?
Yeah.
Let's just take one of those, and could you, here, go right there. How would you, let's fill out, could we just fill out one of those? Like, what would that look like for one of those topics? Because I wasn't really sure. Let's just take maybe clarity, the pillar name.
Okay.
So this is where you brainstorm basically a library of stories that, like what I just did. What were we just illustrating? Oh, actually put pillar would misalignment be a pillar or not?
Well, it probably should be. What you want the pillars to be the steps they have to train and learn to get out of misalignment and into alignment. So for you to have a pillar on misalignment would be great, because you gotta hit that sucker right on the head, right?
Oh. But I think getting clarity is the first step. Right, here's kind of our 4-step process. The first one is it's really clarity. It's rigorous analysis. We have to know what we're starting on, from people, processes, profitability.
Okay.
Davidson, I'm sorry if I'm hogging the time. If you want to jump in here, just don't let me take too much of your time.
No, it's funny because in some ways I'm seeing that's what I'm solving as well, in terms of the salespeople. They're just trying to make more money, but really what they want is like love and relationships and like fulfillment. So it's actually very much, I could see something in it for me as well in terms of the people that I'm serving. So
Yeah.
One of the questions I ask people in that area, Davidson, it's worked really well, is I actually start out and I just say, hey, Davidson, let's just say you and I were getting together a year from now, and we're high-fiving, we're just celebrating your life. Tell me what's going on in your world, and we're high-fiving. And then, you know what, I talk about your job, your people, what's said about you, your relationships. And what I have found, though, for me to make somebody move, right? I think we're talking about making a change, right? Change does not occur until the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of change. And I can only do that if I connect that outcome that you help them, envision, to what it means to them personally and emotionally. So once I've fleshed all this out and then I repeat it back to them, one of the things I ask is, you know what, Davidson, what would be the best part about that for you personally? Because it forces you to bring it into an emotional side of your brain.
Ooh.
And then the next question is, because this allows me to really understand maybe their core values.
Right.
What makes that the best part? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, that's amazing. I love that you shared that. But that was very specific. What made that the best part?
So good.
And then I ask one more question. Why? Because I'm really trying to connect. Because if I can connect, all of a sudden they actually start to see possibility. Right? And this is a place where you can ask questions in context because you know your clients well. Right?
Yeah.
You know their hopes and their fears, and you might even say, you could tell a story. That's something that's been really helpful for me in my conversion. As I've really gotten better at that, my conversion rate for new client has gone from in the 30s to in the 90s.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So kind of part of the process I do, but
yeah, I know we have to go in like there are 28 seconds, but
I'm gonna work with you first, Davidson, when you come back, because I know you're gonna have to go. So I'm gonna give you that first stretch. But go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I like what you said. Like connecting to it emotionally. Yeah, that's the part that I think, like, just painting the picture, connecting the dots a little bit more. I could do a much better job at that. Yeah.
Awesome. What is your big focus for today based on your time this morning? All right, people are putting some great things in the chat. Let me take a look. Monetization, well, that's good. Monetization, we are definitely gonna dive in there today. Finding out the way to make money the right way, is that awesome? Yes, solidifying your brand positioning statement, absolutely. Money and bios, that's great, Bree. That should just be the title of our afternoon. Money and bios. Having strong pillar points, right? As you're starting to think through, what does this look like moving forward? You know, like what comes next? And you know, Davidson, you bring something really great up that I do definitely want to share with you guys. And you know, the message, this is like a really great example. I was just talking to Nancy about this, is the message in your brand positioning, right? That thing that you are commanding your avatar that they must do to overcome the problem that they're facing. Again, it's your truth, that's a truth. You're gonna take that message, that's the through line for all of your thought leadership, right? And every single pillar of content, which is what Davidson's referring to, like that's gonna keep you on the straight and narrow. Right, is every step in my process or every philosophy about what I have about solving the problem, is it aligning with my message? And so all of you from this point on are going to be moving into captivating content, which is where you will take your brand positioning, especially that message, and really create the how. Right? How do I solve this problem? Like, what does this actually look like? Which takes us into creating an offer and charging someone for your time and all of those key pieces. So just love that. Amy, you're on the same page, and I love that we are on the same page. So good. All right, so let's move into monetization, guys. This is where everyone's like, yes, how do I make money doing what I love and serving the person that I really want to serve? And that is what we really want to help you do too. So I'm going to share my screen here. We are going to dive into monetization. We know when it comes to monetization, that there are 5 ways to get paid, right? Those are called the PAIDs. We love acronyms around here. I'm gonna go over these at a really high level, and I would love for you to put in the chat when I go over them, if this is something that you are currently focused on. Like, do you already have a product, right? Is this kind of your main, I wanna hear them all, right? It'll be helpful for your roundtable host to see too. But we call it the PAIDs because we love acronyms around here. We're constantly making them up. It's like a rite of passage for people coming into Brand Builders Group to know what in the world we're talking about if we use all the acronyms we use. It's a Rory David thing. We are just working with them. So just have to go with the flow. And that stands for products, ads and affiliates, information, deals, and services. Now, one of the biggest problems most all of our clients face is that they have a lot of these or an idea for a lot of these. So either you have a lot of these moving right now, or all of your ideas are in every single one of these categories, right? And we know aim small, miss small, that hyper-focused, intentional effort will help you break through the wall, and monetization is no different. How many of you all have created multiple revenue streams and gone, why? Like, some are really taking off, some are not. Are those worth my time, or are these not? Like, it just feels really diluted. I know several of you coming into Brand Builders Group were like, this is a big thing for me. I just really need to get straight here. Yes. So that's what we're going to help you do today. That's the most important thing that you are going to do in your small group time, is really take the time to get hyper focused on the amount of time, effort, and energy, short-term and long-term, you are going to pour into your business models, right? So the first one is products, right? This is how we often see people making money in a personal brand. These are like literal, tangible, physical products like clothing, shoes. Day planner is a big one. In fact, I'm almost positive that the planner that Michael Hyatt makes is his biggest revenue stream. Which, how awesome for him. He's made a planner, the full focus planner, he sells it, money comes in, he's in a good spot. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things he sells, one of his largest revenue streams. Everyone's like, how do I create a day planner? We're gonna help you do the right thing, right? Not everything's right for everyone. But inventions, we say that self-published books, how many of you all have self-published a book? I know several of you have. that are in this group, several Brand Builders Group clients have, that is considered a product because you really know that you own that, right? Like you own the copies, you have them printed, you are managing the sale of them, even if it's through Amazon. Sometimes you're managing that fulfillment. It's very much a product because you have overhead, like you're holding onto it and putting it into the world. So products. So put products in the chat if this is one of your revenue streams or one of the ideas that you have. Like I would love to know how many people are currently working with products. Great, yeah, keep going, keep putting it in there. Strategists take note, just so we know. The next is ads and affiliates, right? We know ads and affiliates happen through podcasting. They happen through blogs, YouTube channels. Really, when you have a nice big audience that is really engaged, people like to leverage said audience from you, right? And that is where we see people with really great YouTube followings, with really amazing blogs that they've been doing forever, that people come to them and say, we would love to put ads in all of the different platforms you have because you have the audience that we want. Audiences don't necessarily have to be massive. They can be smaller, more niche, but definitely engaged. We are seeing lots of people really wanting that high engagement level for ads and affiliates. So put ads and affiliates if you are currently leveraging this as a part of your business, or it's something that you know you want to do eventually, ads and affiliates. And actually, you know, Brand Builders Group is a great example. Like we use affiliates all of the time. Like that is literally how we started Brand Builders Group, with a partnership with Lewis Howes, who even though he had 1 million followers and billions of dollars, came to us knowing he had to do brand DNA. He did brand DNA with us. He didn't say, I'm too far gone from that. I'm already doing it all. I don't need any help here. He knew he was diluted in focus. He wanted to do what he loved. He wanted to double down. And we focused on his podcast because that's what brought him the most joy. He knew he was selling himself short there. And we really revised his golden grid. So this exercise I'm going to show you here in a minute, so simple, not always easy. Lewis did it, really doubled down on his podcast, sold it for lots and lots of money here recently. He's been doing pretty good, not too bad. So ads and affiliates, right? So really be thinking through this. Brand Builders Group actually, while we leverage affiliates a ton, we just started doing paid ads. And I mean just in the past like 6 months, guys. We still don't do ads on our podcast. We will pay for ads on other people's now. We will do Facebook ads. We just started doing that in our 5th year of business. We are, verging on, kind of big 8-figure business this year in 5 years. So it's been really successful. But guys, we've not done that with any paid ads. Not one. We've leveraged affiliates, and we have made the ad on our podcast driving to a free call of Brand Builders Group. We have literally promoted ourselves constantly, and it has worked exceptionally well. So ads and affiliates. The next is information. We see a lot of our clients doing this. So put info in the chat if you are currently leveraging this, whether you have a video course that you're selling, you have a membership group similar to Brand Builders Group, where you're putting out information along with organization and application, challenges, self-published ebooks since it's digital. Like if you are leveraging any one of these things, it would be great to know. The next is deals. So this is a hybrid or traditional book deal. Someone is paying you money in the traditional sense to write your book, or you're partnering in a hybrid fashion to have a book deal. These are brand deals, movie deals, TV deals, licensing deals, lots of different deals. So if you are currently leveraging a deal, put that in the chat. Excuse me, I swallowed one. Talking too much. The next is services. This is what we see people do a ton in Brand Builders Group. So put services in the chat if you're currently doing this, if you're coaching people, if you are a consultant, if you are speaking, that's you as a service, you are trading time for money, even if it's an hour at 10K on a stage, which is not a bad trade, you're still trading your time for money, right? Training, live events, masterminds, or your current business, right? If you're in professional services, you're on the lead gen journey, you're like, I want to leverage who I am to drive more traffic. That's you as a service. You as a service is the fastest path to making money. So is there anyone in this room that's like, I need to make money fast? Like that is a big goal. I know everyone's like, yes, we want to make money fast. But if anyone's like, yep, this is like kind of it, I really want to move the needle here, let's go. You as a service is typically the fastest way to make money. So we always want to consider that. We talk a little bit about dares. Those are kind of the different ways that we deliver on this. We want to make sure for personal brands that the offerings that you have are either digital, automated, recurring, evergreen, or scalable. At least 2 of those key pieces we need to always have in mind. Most of you are solopreneurs. It helps to have something that's scalable, and you as an individual human being are not, right? So thinking through that on a bigger scale, having something evergreen, if you can, and it is like in your industry where evergreen comes really naturally for you, it's a really nice thing to have. Something recurring, something automated when you get to that point where you're like, this is great, this is automated, it doesn't require me at all anymore. How great is that? And digital, obviously all of these 5 pieces, you can't have them all. Some of them are kind of counterintuitive, but it's great to keep these things in mind. A lot of our clients come to us and are like, I'm doing a service and I want to grow that. And we have to say, okay, but we really need to consider whether or not that scales. And typically it doesn't. So let's think about some other opportunities in here to really help you scale. And remember, this is important, people don't pay for information. This is a good thing. I want you to think about this like a good thing, because what this means is that you can use all of your captivating content when you get there. Those 52 questions, which is an exercise if you've got time at the end of the day to do. But remember, when we are talking about your avatar, when we say what questions does this person have for you based on the problem you solve, we take you through that exercise and then deep dive into it at the end, because 52 questions equals 52 weeks. If you want to create 1 piece of content a week, people love it when you're answering their questions, right? Like you're solving their problem. And people don't pay for information, but the more information you give that is valuable, that is the key term there, the more they're going to engage with you, the more they're going to build trust with you. We often tell people to save the best for first. We want you to take the best pieces of your content and put them in as many places as you can in random order, right? We don't need to give the whole process away from start to beginning. But man, we really need to serve people deeply. People don't pay for it. That's okay. It doesn't mean we still don't need to give it all of the time, the most valuable stuff that we have. What they do pay for is organization and application, which is all about creating those business models, right? People aren't just going to buy the information from you. They want to know, is this organized from beginning to end? And can I apply it right away? How do I do that? Tell me exactly what I need to do to start applying this to change my life. That is what people will hand their credit cards over to you for. 2 of the exercises that you guys are going to do this morning are very simple. Simple does not mean easy. This is the first exercise. I really say go through this first. This is just going to help you level set in all of the different things you have going on. Even if it's just 1 or 2, that's okay too. What are the services you currently offer? And I want you to think of all of them. This is kind of like throwing it all up there, right? How many years have you done this? What's the percentage of time that you've been spending on this, hours per week? How much money did you make from this last year? What's that stress level? Was it exceptionally stressful to do that? Was it just like, oh, that was pretty easy. That wasn't stressful at all. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And what's the future potential? Again, super simple, not always easy. And we don't always take the time to sit there and level set and say, what all do I got going on? How much is it actually bringing in? Was that at a stress level 5 with a future potential 1? Well, then I really got to rethink this, right? Like, maybe this is not worth my time. If the stress level is 5, future potential is 5, awesome. Let's figure out how to make it evergreen, make it more scalable, make it easier for you to tackle long term. So this is one of the first exercises I think is really helpful. It's like putting everything out on the table and taking a look at it from 35,000 feet. We don't do that enough. We're very much in our business, not over and on it. So this is a good first step in that direction. And then you are going to do the golden grid exercise. Again, super simple concept, not very easy. This is what Lewis House did. Like again, Lewis House, when he came to us, millions of followers, big deal, made lots of money. Still, we took him through this process. So it is for everyone. What is your short-term primary business model? This is kind of the bingo free concept. This is how you're making money right now. right? Whatever you're doing, even if it has nothing to do with the brand you're building, we can't take our eyes off of it if it's bringing you in revenue. And we can leverage your personal brand to grow your reputation in that space, right? Like nothing is ever wasted, like was said this morning. Nothing's done in vain. So primary business model short term is how you're currently bringing in the most revenue, okay? So that is a gimme. Put that in there. That might be the same long term. You might say, I'm doubling down. I want to grow this business. It's the same short term and long term. Some of you are like, I can't wait to get out of this short term gig because my long term looks totally different, right? And long term should be really aligned with that customer journey you're on, right? Like, what is that long term primary business model you're running after? You're really dedicated to building for that avatar you have. Notice that primary and secondary model has no S on it. Again, we just want one thing in each of these squares, not a million things that you're running after. This is all about the hyper-focused intentional effort. One thing in these top 4 boxes. Ancillary revenue streams, that is plural. Think of this like a catch-all, right? What are all the other things you're doing that you want to be doing long-term? We're going to think through them, but you can put them somewhere, right? We're not going to have you just leave it off. Like you can put it kind of down here in these ancillary revenue streams. A couple of things about the way and the mistakes that people make as they fill out this golden grid. A lot of people put a book as their long-term primary business model focus. Guys, books are great. Books bring you a lot of authority. Books help you increase your fees for speaking, your fees for your coaching programs, for your business. They help drive leads, right? They're a great awareness tool. Books are not going to become a primary source of your income for most, right? For most. And so we always say books can lead to other things, but typically books go as an ancillary revenue stream because it is literally like a chip with guac. Like it's the vehicle to get it into your mouth, right? And it's a great one and it's awesome, but we just want to put it in the right place with the right focus. It doesn't mean that if you're on the author journey and your runway to launching a book is short, that your focus is not on that book, right? It's one of those things that kind of runs parallel, but long-term business model where you actually want to be making your revenue looks a little bit different. So sometimes those customer journeys line up with long-term, sometimes they don't, just depending on where you are, especially when it comes to a book. Does that feel clear to everybody? And if not, your strategist can kind of help walk you through that as well in small groups. Love the avocado on there. Yes, so good. Obviously I'm hungry and I can get some of that later. But those are the exercises that you are going to be going through when it comes to monetization. I would say, again, aim small, miss small. Really get clear on those things that, yes, bring you revenue. We don't want to ignore them. If they're causing a lot of stress, it's not what you're passionate about. Like, what are those other things we're working to? Where do all of those things fit? Where when you're looking at it, you're like, this is where my focus and attention go. Everything else is leading towards my long-term primary business model, right? So if your long-term primary business model is a speaker, that book is gonna help you raise your fees, right? Any consulting that you do, like if you get pulled in to do something quick for a company, guess what you're doing? You're pitching your speaking fee for their next biggest conference, because that's your primary business model. You want them to be like, man, that day you spent with us was so awesome. We want to bring you back for our international conference as a keynote speaker. You're always landing and expanding with that in mind, right? And that is what helps us grow. So that being said, I am going to put a little less than 2 hours on the clock. You guys are going to start monetization, so don't worry. We're going to give you time after lunch to finish monetization. So strategists, if 2 to 3 people get to go first, or even 2, we'll have time on the back end of lunch to do that. So you guys are going to come back at noon Central Standard Time. And when you come back into this room, we'll have the link if you want to join us for leads and needs and for some of those other things. So I am going to, actually, you know what? I'm adding a room for Amy. You don't have to go to the bonus room anymore, Amy. We've got you your own space now. You guys leveling up. What happened to Brandon yesterday happened to Amy, guys. Zoom is just making choices for me that aren't mine. All right, so we are going in for an hour 40, which is 100 minutes even. Look at the math. All right, I'm going to dismiss you guys, run to your breakout rooms, and we will see you back here at 1 p.m. or at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you. 1 Eastern. Yes. All right, everyone. See y'all soon. Happy monetization.
All right.
Okay, the cigar is out. Cigar.
Oh no! Oh snap!
Hey. All right, so I'm gonna run with Davidson. Give him a solid. What do you got? 25 minutes before your call.
I have 10 minutes.
Oh shoot.
It's okay. I'll be back. So it's
Yeah, when you come back, we'll even things up.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, so with these first 10 minutes, do you want to workshop the one-word problem information?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You want to call that?
Okay. One word problem. Yes. Yeah. So that's looks like that's page page 9, right?
Yes, sir. Did you get some good responses back on your survey?
Oh yeah, I think most people said imposter syndrome actually. Yeah, that was the bulk of the. Here, let me just see an update just to get real time. So, okay. So it looks like 68 people voted. Oh, self-criticism. I guess that was 69%, and then everything else is 10 or under 10%. So self-criticism was what I originally thought was the.
Will you share your screen by any chance, just so I can see the data?
Oh yeah. Share screen.
And if you're like, hey, I need 5 minutes of headspace to just clear my mind before this call, just tell us.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So look at that. And how many people voted? 68?
Yeah, 68.
I mean, that's kind of
Overwhelming, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a much higher percentage. So, yeah, that's what I originally thought it would be, actually. Okay.
cool. So does this kind of clear things up? Do you feel pretty strong about self-criticism being a problem?
Yeah, just even reflecting at nighttime, that's certainly the thing that has been the most paralyzing, I would say, just in my life in general. And same with a lot of my clients. Yeah, they're all very critical of themselves. Yeah, whether it's like being laid off from work or mostly like career related decisions.
So what we're gonna do is we'll move this down here. And we just kind of put these words in here.
Okay.
Make sure that we keep them as part of the word cloud. So we don't lose any of that, but then we can solidify this. We have this down there, so we can take that out.
Yep.
So self-criticism, boom, one word problem. Look at that progress, man. See?
There you go.
Sometimes you end up on a high ropes course when you really should be at, getting a pedicure. All right? Just gotta ask.
I'm so sorry. Say that again.
Did you hear the story yesterday, Jerry?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just wondering,
Yeah. All right. So, what do you believe causes self-criticism?
Huh. I believe there's like unprocessed like trauma.
Do you have anything else that comes to mind, or are you pretty clear on that?
That's the common theme. Seems like a lot of my community have been like abused, like physically or emotionally abused. That seems to be the common theme.
Davidson, have you ever studied the hippocampus in the brain?
Like just the hippocampus?
I would encourage you to read about it. I give you 10 seconds. So there's a part of the brain, the hippocampus, and anything that's happened to in our life historically, even especially when we're young, that the brain associates with purpose or passion and has an outcome either positive or negative. And basically all the memories we have, it front loads it. Here's an example of how so it's basically these unconscious routines that are operating, and they're kind of in our neural pathways. But here's an example of how it works. You ever met somebody and the first time and your like immediate reaction is, ooh, I don't like you.
Yeah.
Something about like immediate reaction, like there's something about their mannerism, their face, their tone of voice, how they're dressed. I'll guarantee you that if you pause and actually look back in your life, there's somebody that had that one of those characteristics that did something that was painful to you.
Yeah.
And this hippocampus is this very powerful force that creates this lens that we see the world. It's not always accurate, but it's what creates a lot of that self-criticism. So there might be some areas in there, if you look into it, that could just really enhance, I think, your understanding of what you can understand the problem better than they do, and even speak into it with a clarity they've never seen. I've found that with my clients.
And just to piggyback onto that, the hippocampus is primal. So it goes back to what Casey said before with John and I, most people are not aware that it started like 10 steps ago. They're aware that they're self-criticizing, but it's 10 steps back because it's primal. It's an autopilot tape that's running that they've lost sight of or don't hear anymore. And so sometimes getting into that space, like John was saying, requires someone to bring insight to it, because people just don't. I think they say 95% of what we do every day is on autopilot. Heartbeat, lungs, breathing, all that stuff. There's just
the thoughts we have, how we react, it's all on autopilot.
Yeah, that certainly resonates. Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting too, right? Because it's like, even though I initially will have a guard up because it reminds me of my mom or my dad or whoever it is, right? An old boss that said something that I didn't necessarily agree with. And then once I actually get to know them, I let down my guard, and I actually am just able to be with them, like, and then we end up becoming really close, right? So it's always like the people that I end up. I mean, basically, one of the ladies that got me to become a coach by enrolling me into some of these like personal development programs. When I first met her, I was like, like not my cup of tea, like, you know. And then once we actually got to know each other, like we became best friends, you know, and we caught up yesterday. And yeah, it's just interesting what's possible when I let down the guard, and when I just let her in and just like I'm able to be with her, you know. And we're so similar, like we call each other like soul sisters, soul brothers, and it's just like
nice.
Yeah, it's like a beautiful relationship. Yeah.
Well, let's I think trauma's pretty strong. Let's keep that, and then we'll workshop it a little bit further whenever you get back. So we'll see you in what, an hour or so?
Half an hour.
Half an hour? All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Seems good, man. Have a great
Cool.
call.
Thank you.
Go get him, man. Everything is awesome.
Nice.
Nice. All right, that was good. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. All right, let's do this.
Thank you. Were you able to speak with Praveen?
Yeah, he still didn't solve the problem for the setting up meetings. He downloaded something, but it didn't work.
It didn't work, is it? Okay.
Okay. He also said I needed to work with you on setting up the link for blocking out, scheduling a meeting.
For Teams?
You know, in my signature it says schedule a meeting.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah, it's being worked upon, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Davidson.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Good.
It's a very nice post on LinkedIn about your sister. I saw that.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah. She's a
Happy
good.
birthday to her.
Thank you. Yeah, she's awesome.
Okay. I think Auntie wouldn't be able to make it. So today's session is on Zoho 1, mainly concentrated on Zoho CRM. And I believe you both have gone through the lessons on Zoho 1.
Yeah.
And any questions on how to navigate or how to create a lead and then convert them, create a deal.
Davidson, are you familiar? I haven't really done it yet.
No, I think like with anything, once we kind of get more familiar, comfortable, once we start actively having some deal flows, I'm sure we'll get the hang of it. But it seems pretty intuitive, pretty straightforward. And we can always go back and rewatch if we are stuck on something.
Yeah, that's there. So it will take some practice to get used to it. Especially with the different deal stages that we have and how that is tied up with the Volunteer way as well, right? You will see every deal stage is also tied up with the Volunteer way. And then there will be different presentation decks that you will prepare, the team operations team will be preparing, which needs to be loaded onto the CRM and so on. So those are the things will definitely come through practice. And hey Abraham, how are you?
Hi, how are you? All
Good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
chapter, the chapters before 5, did you have meetings for it?
No,